Job searching in biotech can feel like shouting into the void. You're applying, refreshing, waiting, and still not hearing anything back. So, what actually works? Welcome to When in STEM podcast, where we talk careers, clarity, and confidence in STEM fields. I'm your friend in STEM, Mary, and today we're diving into the job hunt playbook that no one talks about. This is part 3 of the Recruiter series, where we'll be diving in the do's and don'ts on LinkedIn, how to stand out, and what are the things and tactics you need to be able to get a job in biotech. This episode is your cheat sheet. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you in the episode. Welcome back, JF. I'm so excited to have you again. We're going to be talking about how to get hired in biotech. And it's such an exciting topic because I feel like no one really breaks down what your LinkedIn profile should look like. And so that's what we'll be talking about. And I'm just going to jump right in. Okay?
Great.
So, what are the biggest green flags you look for on LinkedIn?
Yeah, so this is the LinkedIn, not sponsored by LinkedIn,
No, if you want to sponsor me, LinkedIn, you know.
episode. Okay, green flags. I think we did talk about that in another episode. It's not that you can find one like on one general big thing, but I find a profile.
Mm,
So the long story short is it needs to feel that you're a real person.
mhm,
That's a big issue these days. There's a lot of fake candidates. There's a lot of automated AI generated
mhm,
profiles.
mhm,
So a green flag is I see a profile and I get the feeling
mhm,
that this is a real candidate.
mhm,
So it has activity, has connections, it has a picture, it has the experience, more or less. It looks like real.
mhm,
Actually, they have their email addresses
mhm,
or phone numbers. That
mhm.
basically means you can call
Yeah,
them. So make your profile real,
yeah.
and that's a huge green flag these
Mhm.
days.
Wow, I did not know like there are a lot of common profiles that look fake or they're like.
There's I don't know if you have questions about that about job applications, but we're getting a lot of fake applicants when we post a job.
Oh, wow.
Yes, in the last year, I would say,
Wow. So when we
and
see on LinkedIn 100 plus applications.
some of them they're not even real. Well, I refuse to think
Okay.
that some of those applicants have applied, read the job description, and applied to that job, and their resume has nothing to do, absolutely nothing to do with the job description.
Oh, wow.
So that's just my not science,
Theory.
not science theory. I believe there's like automated softwares
Mhm.
who will work eventually. So bet against AI. I think it's a bad thing to do because
Mhm.
it will work eventually.
Mhm.
But right now, I get so much noise in the application, like so many bad applicants.
Mhm.
So if I was getting 100 applicants on a job
Yeah.
1 year ago, now I'm getting 300. This 200 extra, the majority of them are not good applicants. So,
Okay. What should someone write in their about section if they're early in their careers?
yep, I would use that as their own recommendation letter,
Okay.
kind of like what you have you done. Even if you don't have a lot of experience,
Mhm.
you've probably done an internship while you were studying in college.
Mhm.
You'll probably have work in the lab, even if it's in. So put all in there. Put every single lab technique you have
Mhm.
learned because you never know what keyword will save you or
Mhm.
something you have learned will be thing the company is hiring
Mhm.
needed to see.
Yeah.
So if you don't put it in the about or in your in the experience part,
Mhm.
you might be missing your job.
Mhm.
So just put everything you have, even if you don't have a lot of industry
Yeah.
experience. You have like it doesn't need to be 3 pages,
Yeah.
but it's like a brief of what I've
Yeah.
done.
Okay.
And in the end, if you don't have a lot of experience, but you're applying for an internship, they do know
Yeah.
what you've done. They do know you're recently graduated or about to graduate.
And so I know with LinkedIn there's a lot of open to work. Do you highly recommend people to put that? Or it
I
doesn't really matter?
so I was doing a speech last week, and someone asked me this exact same
Yeah.
question, and it's funny because she said she was talking to friends,
Mm-hmm.
and they were telling her just don't put it. because it will make you look desperate. And I was like, no, absolutely not. It helps me. There's literally an on LinkedIn Recruiter, which is an extension from LinkedIn, where you can filter with only open to work people. So definitely, if you're looking for a job, put it in there. It's different if you're working in a company and you don't want to, you want obviously your teammates and your HR team and your manager that you're looking for a job. And yes, there's this optional LinkedIn that it will allow you to put it and no one in your company can see it, but it's not difficult to find out.
Biotech is a small world.
It's just Boston, like it's a city, it's a big city, lots of opportunities, but it works a lot with I know someone who knows someone. In that context, it's not that big. So if you put that, I think it's risky. If you're not working in a company, you're looking for a job, definitely open to work always. Doesn't make you look like you're desperate or you're a worst candidate. Just put it in there. It will help you. Can only help you. Like you have
That's
not,
true. Yeah,
yeah,
you
you have
have a
nothing to.
filter for it.
Yes, and you have nothing to lose.
Is LinkedIn activity, does it matter?
Yes, for me, and at your question, green flags when so if I find a profile who's very good in terms of experience, background, years, but this person has no connections, like 20 connections, no picture, and no activity. It's like I don't know if that person, if I call this person, will they answer or not? If it's real, if it's so activity is always important, everything you do, because you never know when you will start looking for a new job, even if you don't plan. So if you're doing good things, why wouldn't you post it? Do it because it's your own brand and it can help you in the future. Maybe you don't need to reach out to agencies because you have, I don't know, a feed in your LinkedIn profile that it tells you what have you done in the last 5 years, and it's only but good things. So I would say it helps.
I've always wondered this question, and I'm assuming other people do. Once you put like keywords in your about and then in your like experience, does that like flag you or flag other companies that are looking for people?
There's this part, I think it's called skills. Add everything in there. Every lab technique, put it in there. Because especially with technical or lab roles, so recruitment with, senior roles doesn't always go with keywords, can help, but with scientists, lab roles, it goes typically related to lab techniques, things you do in there. So it always helps to put it in there because it will pop up if I filter for, let's say I'm looking for someone who has done HPLC. Just put it in there if you've done it, because if I search HPLC associate scientist in the biotech world in Boston in the last 2 years, maybe you've done it and I don't see it. And especially with this kind of roles, there's a lot of applicants. So add it. Skills, very important. Just add it.
I love that.
Again, nothing to lose. It can only help.
Exactly. But only if you've done it, add it.
Of course. Oh, of course. Don't. I don't think I need to say this, but don't lie.
When someone applies, what happens next behind the scenes?
I'll try to be brief here because it's different in between big pharmas, medium companies, small companies. Let's start with big pharmas. Big pharmas have typically their own talent acquisition team, and typically they externalize with a big MSP company who at the same time work with a lot of agencies. So when they get applicants, definitely someone will review that. You will be competing against a lot of other applicants because everyone want to work with big pharmas. So what happened behind the scenes is they typically work with agencies. Each agency has one or two spots. If they work with 30 agencies, they have like 60 candidates to review. And if you're not in this first filter, you're just out. Doesn't always work like this, but typically work like this. So there's not a lot you can do to follow up, as opposed to in small to medium companies. They will have a small TA team. You can more easily find who's the decider And when I mean the decider, I mean, so when I say decider, I mean who is hiring for this job and who is saying, okay, we'll interview this
Mm.
candidate or not.
Mhm.
So let's say companies with up to 200 people, they will have a TA team of 4 or 5. So
Mhm.
you can, that is what I would do. This I recommend to do.
Yeah.
Just follow up, request those guys, especially if you think it's a job, you'll be perfect
Mm.
because of what you've done, for whatever the reason, follow up with them. Because again, if they have 300 applicants, not everyone will follow up. Maybe
Mhm.
only 20 people do that. So it's more or less easy to find out who is the decider.
Mhm.
So it's kind of easy to follow up with them. Don't feel that you were pushy
Yeah.
or that you,
Desperate.
no, just ask.
Mhm.
And again, you have nothing to lose. Worst case, they will tell you, hey, we did fill the job, or no, you're not, I don't know, you're not good enough because this or that, or you're not the right candidate. And best case scenario, it'll be like, hey, we're still looking for,
Yeah.
why didn't I review your
Yeah.
application? So you have nothing to lose.
Mhm.
And with small companies, they might even don't have a talent acquisition team.
Mm.
So with the small companies, reach out directly to the CEO,
Mm.
maybe the VP of R&D, reg affairs, VP of sales, they posted the job.
Yeah.
When that's the case, reach out directly to them,
Mm.
because that's when you have the more chances to get a response with
Mhm.
small companies.
Mhm.
And I'm saying this and I'm going against the agencies because I
Yeah.
know if you do that, you won't need an agency.
Yeah.
But my job is to help
Yeah.
and always follow up,
Mhm.
especially now with all this noise, all these extra candidates.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going on, but
Mhm.
a lot of them are bad, but it doesn't benefit you because there's more applicants. So there's more time to invest to finally review your application.
Mhm.
So always follow up. So what happened behind the scenes that you need to follow up.
Yeah.
That's what you should think.
Yeah.
Don't just wait and see
Yeah.
after you apply to a job.
So don't apply and just sit around.
You can do it, but then it's,
Your chances of getting a job is like
yes,
not like it might happen, it might not happen, but be
yes,
proactive and try to reach out to people and even if you don't get a response, it's still something at least you tried.
exactly. Or I would say, if you get automatically rejected,
Mhm.
and that happens. People apply to jobs, and then in the next minute they
Yeah.
get a rejection. They're like, I don't get it. Follow up,
Okay.
because maybe it's like an automated machine who's
Yeah.
doing this. So why not
Yeah,
just
follow up.
ask?
Yeah. I'll keep that in mind. I'll do that
Yes,
too.
always,
Yeah.
always.
And so I just want a brief tips on how should someone prepare for an interview.
With who? With a,
So let's say they applied and they're like, okay, we'd love to interview you to see if you're fit for this role.
first, the screening calls.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they typically do in the first stages. Again, it depends on the
Company,
company.
yeah.
It's different if you get an interview with a big pharma,
Mm-hmm.
because they'll have protocols and they will have like you'll probably get like some kind of document with, hey, this is what the interview is going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
So it will help you to prepare the interview.
Mm-hmm.
If you interview with a smaller company, it will depend on the company. If you work with an agency, I'll always try to help
Mm-hmm.
whoever is interviewing, because again, benefits to all of us.
Yeah.
How you prepare? One, again, we've been saying this through all episodes.
Yeah.
Read the job description.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember when you were in high school and the teacher would say, just read the questions?
Yeah.
It's the same. Read. I don't get it. Read the question again.
Yeah.
So read the job description. Super important. Understand who you're interviewing for.
Mm-hmm.
What's their position,
Mm-hmm.
who they report to. It's different if you're interviewing someone in talent. It will be more of a cultural fit kind of questions,
Mm-hmm.
if they feel that you're the right hire for the company as a company,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to interviewing to your direct report, hiring manager.
Yeah.
They might go with more technical questions. That's a general. Sometimes
Yeah.
HR, they do ask technical
Mm-hmm.
questions, or they will ask you questions about your experience, but
Mm-hmm.
it will depend on who you have in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
But if I have to say 3 or 4 basic things, read the job description, find out everything you can about the company. If you're using an agency, they will tell you. If
Mm-hmm.
you're on your own, do the research always. So job description, research, and research about who is the interviewer. That would be my three key things to do.
I agree. And I do want to add one thing to that is also make sure you know what you've done in the lab.
Yes.
Sometimes, like, if you really don't understand the experiment that you've done, like, go back and read your notes and understand the experiment
Mm-hmm.
because 9 out of 10 times they will ask you about that experiment.
Mm-hmm. So you reflect on your,
Yeah.
yeah, on your previous work.
Because that
Also,
happened to me one time.
they did ask you like specifics?
Yeah, the first job I ever applied to, it was a job I like, a company I really liked.
Mm-hmm.
And I just applied because, like, let me apply. And then I got an interview, and I've never had an interview, so I didn't know what to expect. So I never like prepped what I did in school, like know what DDPCR, like specifics. So when they asked me these questions, I just sat there. I'm like, I I like I tried to like remember what we did
Mm-hmm.
in the lab, and they probably looked at me, they're like, this girl does not know anything.
Yeah, yeah.
But then after that I learned my lesson, and then I always like learn the experiment. Even if I think I know it, I just double check, make sure I know the right specific terms and the right steps that I took, just in case, because like I learned from my
No, no,
mistakes.
no. But that's where you learn. Actually, if
Exactly.
you would have got this job, if you get this job
Yeah.
and you, I don't know, 2 years, 2 years later, you're trying to find for a new job.
Yeah. Yeah, I would have done the same mistake.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this is for people who's been in two, three, four companies maybe already, but make sure when you explain your career, it makes sense.
Okay.
So if you had a layoff, just tell them about the layoff. If you took a job because they offer you a higher title, and that's the reason, tell them. If you've done 8 jumps and it's always only about the title,
Yeah.
if you tell them, well, they might think this person only wants to join us because of the title, and when this person finds a better one,
He's
they
gonna
will
leave.
leave. So again, be a little bit cautious of what you explain, but it's but obviously don't lie,
Yeah.
but have a clear response of why this jump from this company to this company,
Okay.
and find reasons, because we always have reasons that it's not only salary or title. It's because they were, I don't know, their product was very exciting. The fundings they had received and the career growth I was told about, it was very promising. That in the end it didn't work. Like make a story that
Yeah.
makes sense, and that is truth.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Well, thank you again. This is the last question I have. If someone listening today only changes one thing about their job search after this conversation, what should it be?
Make your LinkedIn profile real, because that will definitely help you.
Yeah. At the end of every episode, I do have a segment called Career Corner, which is listener submitted questions. So we'll have questions from the audience and we'll just give quick advice on it. Okay.
Okay.
Other question is, hey, I'm Lauren. Do biotech companies actually care about what you post on LinkedIn? I've been thinking about sharing my science journey more, but I'm not sure if it makes me look different if when I'm getting hired.
So it's becoming a thing that companies, they do a look at your profile, a LinkedIn profile.
Okay.
That's the thing. If you post your activity and your activity is related to what you're doing,
Yeah.
that's great. I have had a company, a big pharma company, who was checking LinkedIn profiles. And if your resume, your actual resume, and your LinkedIn profile didn't match at all, like huge differences, you could get automatically rejected. I know she
Oh.
was asking about
Yeah.
activity,
Yeah.
but it's a proof that yes, they are looking at LinkedIn's, and it's becoming a bigger thing. So yes, post your activity. If it's scientific related, you'll start to see that LinkedIn is transitioning to a more personal brand. So you'll start to see people going hiking and people talking about my son got graduated last week
Yeah.
and this kind of post. I'm not sure yet what to think about that,
Okay.
but it is a fact that it's going this way. So you'll see that happening. So why wouldn't you? So
Post.
you should post um, scientific activity related to what you do always, yes. And I think it will, if it does something, it will benefit you.
Question. Hi, this is Miguel. I live in a city with basically no biotech companies and can't move right now. Are remote lab jobs actually a thing, or are most roles really just on site with a remote label?
A lab job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So roles, you probably know that more than
Yeah, I
me,
do.
more than I. But so lab jobs typically requires to
In
stay
person.
there,
Mm-hmm.
and if you apply to a job with a team who's directly involved with a team
Mm-hmm.
that is in the lab, it will probably require you to go on site,
Mm-hmm.
at least hybrid.
Yeah.
So fully remote roles are typically roles that are not as involved with labs.
Yeah. Like clinical associates. Some
Clinic,
of them.
some clinical jobs, some jobs related
Regulatory.
regulatory, because if it's, but even so, if you don't have a certain level of experience,
Mm-hmm.
companies they typically tend to send you on site,
Mm.
so you acknowledge the culture,
Mm-hmm.
you learn a way to work, and
Yeah.
then when you're ready, you can work from home.
Mm-hmm.
That's what a lot of companies
Do.
think, and how they operate.
Mm-hmm.
But there's jobs like reviewing documentation,
Mm-hmm.
which could be rec or some quality
Yeah.
roles or some basically sales roles that you
Mm-hmm.
don't need to go on site. You need
Yeah.
to go out there and visit clients, but
Mm-hmm.
not go on site. But lab jobs, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
You won't get a lot of work from home. Well, how many
None.
jobs?
None. I've never seen a job that has to do that, especially if you're entry level or like very mid career. It's very rare that you work from home in like in those roles. So yeah.
And I mean, it makes
Yeah,
sense in a
exactly. You have
way.
to be in the
Like
lab. Yeah,
you have
exactly.
to be in the lab. You have never worked from home 5 days per week because you
Mm-hmm.
were, I don't know, 24.
Yeah.
So I think for some time, I'm a strongly believer of working from home.
Yeah.
I actually love hybrid.
Yeah.
like going to the office, but I like having my days working from
Yeah.
home. So it makes it what
Mm-hmm.
I think is the best way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But when you are new in a company, I think it makes sense to um, work in a place
Mm-hmm.
that is your
Yeah.
workplace, and separate. And especially if you're in a lab,
Yeah.
you need to be in the lab.
Exactly. Yeah. Mhm. That's it for Career
That's it.
Corner. Thank you so much, JF. I had such a great time. This is the last episode of the Recruiter series. I had such a great time. I hope you guys learned as much as I did. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if people want to connect with you, how can they connect?
We'll post my
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn.
Connect with him and
Just
shoot him a message. Yeah,
request me
request.
on LinkedIn.
And if you want to shoot a message,
Just feel free.
just
Just
do,
just DM me.
just thanks again. See you in the next episode.